At this point, after creating this activity, we have completed all of the student-facing material for one lesson. However, there's still one last thing that we're responsible for making as a part of a lesson, and that is the instructor guide. So if we check out the structure here, we can see that the instructor guide lives in the module. It does not live in the lesson, it lives in the module. So each of these modules will have the instructor guide. And if we take a look here, we can see this is just another one of our document components. And in our document component, we want to list out some of the information that the instructor will be able to read quickly to understand exactly what the goal is for this module and the lessons that are in this module. You can see from this, if this is our intro to HTML, we want students to be able to describe the format of HTML. We want them to name several HTML tags so they can start understanding how to build the code. Then tell the difference between the tags and their attributes and content. Then we want to give them some context, because this could be an instructor that's a substitute or that is not responsible for teaching the lessons that come before this intro to HTML. So if that is the case, if they don't know where these students came from, then it's really difficult for them to really think about what words they can and can't say when they are presenting. If we haven't taught them any JavaScript yet, then it's really important we would list that in our context for subject material so that the instructor that would be presenting this would know not to mention anything that would make students more confused. In this case, we recognize this cohort is different. Many of the topics were introduced earlier, so some of the stuff is familiar is what this is kind of saying. And yeah, so it's actually encouraging the instructor that you can go a little farther, you can go a little faster, you can go into a little bit more advanced material on the subject because they've seen this stuff before. Then we've got topic prioritization. So what should the students be able to do afterwards? So they should be able to create an HTML skeleton, render the text with paragraphs and headers, writing these simple multi-line comments, describe the differences between tags and attributes, and they have the ability to find information within the documentation, so searching things and stuff. There's going to be other topics and other lessons that we want to list here. It's important to notice the contrast between the lesson objectives and the topic prioritization, because they are very similar, but they are uniquely important. The lesson objectives is formatted in a way like this is what they should be able to do at the end. The topic prioritization is what's going to be covered. So this is just some tips on how the instructor can best scaffold the topics to effectively communicate all of the information to the students. Then some tips and tricks with reviewing activities and remembering that they have the lesson companion guide in addition to the lecture slides. Then it goes into some timing. It's super important that they know that they have 1 hour for this, and the slide should be 20 minutes, activity 25. This is based on our feeling as the curriculum engineer. Sometimes we have slides that last 10 or 15 minutes. This one's a 20-minute slide deck. That's pretty average. Sometimes you do have a slide deck that's pretty heavy and maybe more like 25 or 30 minutes. But that's up to us. We just know that we have an hour to work with. So if we do have a 30-minute slide deck, then we'd probably only want to make like a 10 or a 15-minute activity so that we have enough time for the instructor to not have to hustle and rush through all the content. If we look at the code for this, we can see right here, it's a document. We include an image. We don't need to have a parent slide template component to put our image in. The image can just be existing inside the document. Some unordered lists and just some basic HTML tags that we have as components inside of our cat library. A section might be new. Just the section here is the take each slide slower and strategic planning. So it looks like this guy's a section. Maybe the text display is a little bit more compacted together. You can see that we have a span component here that we can set to bold. And so that's how we can highlight that text and style it to be a little bold. I think there's also an italics one as well, and maybe a strike through as well. There's lots of tools there that can help you with making things look pretty. That's pretty much it for the instructor guide. It's a document component like we've seen many other times in the other class curriculum material. This pretty much does it for creating the curriculum. The next things that we're going to talk about is going to be the Git conventions and how to submit a pull request so that you guys can have some other curriculum engineers look at your work and tell you how you can improve it and make sure that we're all on the same page and delivering a consistent and good looking slide deck and bunch of class material for our students.